everyone, and welcome back to another Storytime video. And today I'm going to talk about the time I configured a server in college. Now, with the fact that I had to go into work this week to help with server upgrades, this story has been on my mind a lot this week, and so I thought that I would tell it today. So the thing that, well, one of the many things I really liked about my college professor is that if there was something we as a class or maybe individually wanted to do, especially with hands-on, he would definitely encourage that. And for the start of my last trimester in school, my teacher had bought 2 servers. And they were fully put together. That's why I didn't say build. I just said configure, because the guts and the internal, or well, yeah, the guts and the internals, all that was already in there. So like the fans, the processors, we just needed to add storage, hard drives, and put the actual operating system on there. That's basically what lacked in terms of the servers. Now, he had gotten 2 servers just to have us identify different hardware of the server. But one of my best friends, who, well, there's 2 best friends that I had in school that names were both similar to mine. This is a friend that I've played Portal 2 with in terms of the co-op. So let's just say Portal 2 friend. So my Portal 2 friend and I basically took it upon, well, he at first started to play around more and more with the server, because these 2 servers were just sitting on they were just sitting on this vacant table in the classroom. So he started to spend more and more time with that server. And the last trimester wasn't exactly jam-packed with stuff. Think of the last trimester that I had in school, or in college, like your senior year in high school, where you're not really packed with work like you are your sophomore and junior years. Because, you know, you're trying to figure out where you want to spend the next 4 years, or trying to figure out life as you're thrust out there into the working world if you don't go to college, or at least not immediately. But so he was spending ample time, quite a bit of time over there, while I was taking notes and researching various things in IT that interested me, like cybersecurity stuff. But as I saw where he kept spending more and more time with the servers, I got a bit jealous. And so I then took over the other server. And I mean, there was even times where when they got moved to a separate table, we were gonna sit at a particular table for that trimester. And but when the servers got moved to the other table, another vacant table, he started to spend days and weeks just over there doing his work over there, doing everything, except that he would come back over to take notes because the other classmates were over there, and my teacher didn't want to lecture to two different groups or have to constantly look over to the other side of the room in order to give his lectures. And I totally understand that. And so that is mainly what led to my curiosity being piqued. And, well, so I guess I wasn't jealous per se, but my curiosity was definitely piqued. And so I started to mess with the other server, like I mentioned. And the thing is that the teacher just looked at it and said, okay, you guys have at it, you guys have fun. And I always love it whenever you can work on projects, and for me, getting hands-on, like, I love to put my hands on stuff. But, so with putting my hands on the server, we were able to configure it, add storage, make sure that storage was there. I had earlier in, not that trimester, but a trimester before in school, there was one afternoon where we weren't really doing anything and I was kind of a bit bored. I mean, I had all my notes taken, I had all my assignments done, I had everything. So I was like, well, let me just make a bunch of bootable ISOs. And so, with the fact that I had these bootable ISOs, which is basically a thing like a flash drive is what I put all my bootable ISOs on. For the layman, that is when you put an operating system like Windows 10, Windows 11, Linux, if you're into that kind of thing, perhaps, onto a bootable ISO, and that allows you to go into your computer's system settings and be able to boot to that ISO and boot the operating system that's in that. So if you're using a Windows 11 computer like I am, and I put in a bootable ISO of Linux and I reboot it, go into the system settings, the BIOS, you can choose to boot to that bootable ISO and boot into Linux. So I had, well, in school we messed around with Windows Server 2012 in terms of virtual machine environments. And so, because we used Server 2012 a lot in school, in that virtual machine environment, I made a bootable ISO of Server 2012. And so that's what we used to get an operating system onto the servers. And so we we were able to successfully do that and configure it with both servers. We basically did our own server ourselves. We helped each other when we needed, but and we did some. So there was some help, some like out of curiosity, like, hey, I'm gonna do this for you. Just, he and I are the types where it's just sometimes difficult to just watch stuff like that and not have our hands put on it in some way to contribute. He and I are just that way. That's just our nature. So, but for the most part, we did our own servers, and we were going to use those servers for capture the flag experiments, but we never did. I think that, well, we had 5 of us still left that came in at the same time in the class, and then the majority of the students had come in at a different time. And my teacher, since a lot of the stuff was already done with us, just needed to brush up on some things for that final trimester. He focused a lot on the other class, and so we unfortunately did not get to do the capture the flag exercise that he thought we were going to have time for. Which that provided a good time for me, a good chunk of time to try to find my first job, by the way. Well, my first IT job that I did find, by the way. But that's another story for another time. Regardless, we just unfortunately didn't do the capture the flag, even though we had a plan. We were setting up, and the Portal 2 friend and I were bouncing ideas off each other, while a few of the other classmates were trying to figure out how to, of course, get the flag. Basically, we're going to hide some data or something, and they were going to try to get it. And so, unfortunately, that never came to fruition. But by the time we left, Portal 2 friend and I put my teacher had ordered server racks for us to put both servers in. So, both servers, by the time I graduated, were in server racks, and they looked nice with a monitor and everything. Now, with the fact that we moved our desks, we moved our computers, we moved our monitor and the computer towers that we were using, the friend and I, over to that vacant table, by the way. And those tables are, two people could sit at a table, and they were 2 tables put together. And the friend and I would sit across from each other, and then to his right and then to my left, we would have our servers. And so we were able to easily mess around with them when we had free time. And I know that they have used the servers in the classroom at least a little bit since I left, because at some point my teacher texted me asking me what the password to the server was. At least one of them. And, but I haven't been back in that class since, November. So it's been a long time. And, I might be back in there, in a couple weeks after they, come back from summer break, because I have vacation for around the Fall Creek Falls reunion in a couple weeks, and I might stop by the classroom either on my way there or on my way back from Fall Creek Falls, and so I'll just have to see how much they've been using the servers, but it's certainly I'm excited to see how much use the servers have gotten. And it was very, very fun to configure that. And, upgrading the servers this week at work was pretty cool. It was a cool experience and a first time experience that I have had. As this is my first IT job and I haven't been there when they've upgraded the servers, but it's been very fun. And CS guys, I do believe that will do it for this storytime video. And till next storytime video, I will see you later. Goodbye, guys! Thank you all for watching.